The internet has absolutely exploded with the news. Robert Downey Jr. is officially coming back to the MCU, but this time he's playing the villainous Doctor Doom. And you can feel the entire fandom asking the exact same question: how? Is he some kind of Tony Stark variant? Did Tony's past somehow lead to this? The theories are everywhere, and the idea of watching the man who built the MCU return to tear it all down. That's the kind of long-form storytelling Marvel is known for. It's poetic, it's ironic, and it feels like the perfect twisted final chapter for his legacy. But what if we're all asking the wrong question? What if the return of Robert Downey Jr. isn't the real story? What if it's the greatest magic trick Marvel has ever pulled? The biggest casting news in MCU history might just be a smokescreen, a brilliant piece of sleight of hand from Kevin Feige. Because the real plot twist coming in Avengers Doomsday, the one nobody seems to be talking about, has nothing to do with Doctor Doom showing up. It has everything to do with Doctor Strange's secret mission to stop the multiverse from collapsing. A mission that might just force him to side with Doom himself. The arrival of the MCU's greatest villain isn't the story. It's the result of a much bigger crisis, one that one of our greatest heroes caused and has been fighting in the shadows this whole time. Let's connect the dots. To really get the misdirection, you have to appreciate just how perfect the cover story is. Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom isn't just good casting, it's genius on a meta level. The man who started this whole thing by declaring, "I am Iron Man," now returns as the universe's most brilliant and tyrannical foe. It brings his story full circle in a way nobody saw coming. It forces a debate that's core to both characters, the thin line between saving the world and destroying it, the weight of genius, and how easily absolute power corrupts. Tony Stark fought those demons his whole life and ultimately sacrificed himself. Victor Von Doom is what happens when that same genius, that same drive, is completely consumed by ego. The casting alone gives the story so much weight. Downey Jr. has the range to pull off Doom's royal arrogance, his intelligence, and the tragedy simmering under that iron mask. For years, fans have wanted to see him in the role, and bringing back RDJ creates an instant, powerful connection for the audience. Imagine the new Avengers, many of whom looked up to Tony, having to fight a villain who wears the face of their fallen mentor. It's emotionally crushing, and from a story perspective, it's brilliant. Now let's look at the popular theories, because they are really solid. The first one was the obvious evil Tony variant idea. Maybe in another universe, Tony's story went dark. Maybe Pepper died, or he lost to Thanos, and that failure twisted him into someone who believes peace only comes through total control. It's a classic comic book move, and would let Downey Jr. play a dark reflection of his most famous role. However, Marvel Studios and reliable sources have been very clear in shutting that down. They've stated that Robert Downey Jr. is not playing a Tony Stark variant. He is playing Victor Von Doom, the classic ruler of Latveria from the comics, a master of both science and magic, and the ultimate rival to the Fantastic Four. This isn't some alternate Tony, this is the real deal. And that's a huge clue, because it steers us away from a simple evil twin plot and towards something way more interesting. It strongly suggests this Doctor Doom will come from the alternate universe introduced in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, a world that's about to crash into our own. This brings us to the second, more popular theory, the Savior Doom arc, pulled straight from some of Doom's best comic storylines, like Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars. In that story, Doom isn't just a villain laughing on a throne. He's one of the only people smart enough to see the real threat. The entire multiverse is dying from something called incursions. He sees the heroes as incompetent, unable to make the tough calls needed to save reality. So he takes it upon himself. He becomes a god, not because he's evil, but because he truly believes he's the only one who can handle that power and save what's left. This is the version of Doom most people expect to see. He won't just show up with an army. He'll arrive as a leader from another world, a genius who watched his own universe die and is here with a dire warning. He'll point to the chaos caused by Scarlet Witch, Loki, and especially Doctor Strange, and argue that their recklessness broke the multiverse. He'll present himself as the only solution. His first motives might even sound reasonable, and that's exactly what makes him so terrifying. All of these ideas are built on a solid foundation, and that's exactly why it's the perfect misdirection. It's so good, so believable, that it's got all of our attention. We're so busy watching the magician's right hand that we don't see what the left is doing. And while we're all looking at Dr. Doom's grand entrance, we're ignoring the disaster that's already happening. The real story of Avengers Doomsday didn't start with a casting announcement. It started in the mid-credits scene of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Let's go back to that moment because it's easily one of the most important and overlooked scenes in the entire multiverse saga. After a nightmare journey through dying realities, Stephen Strange is just walking down a New York street. Suddenly a portal cuts through the air and the sorceress Clea steps out. She's not there to say hi. Her words are a flat-out accusation. You caused an incursion, and we're going to fix it. Strange, who now has a third eye from using the Darkhold, doesn't even argue. He just agrees and steps through the portal with her, disappearing from our world. This scene wasn't just a setup for Doctor Strange 3. That's thinking too small. This was the start of the next Avengers-level threat. This was Marvel showing us the ticking time bomb in plain sight. The biggest threat to the multiverse isn't some villain from another dimension. It's a cosmic catastrophe that our hero, Doctor Strange, personally caused. To get how serious this is, we need to remember what an incursion is. Reed Richards of Earth 838 explained it. It's when the border between two universes breaks down and they collide. When two Earths try to occupy the same space, one or both realities are completely destroyed. It's not a war you can win. It's a force of nature. And that's what Clea says Strange started. This wasn't the first we'd heard of it either. The whole reason the Illuminati existed on Earth 838 was to deal with this. Their Doctor Strange used the Darkhold to find a way to beat Thanos, but in doing so, he caused an incursion that wiped out an entire universe. For that crime, they killed him. They decided their own Sorcerer Supreme was the biggest threat to the multiverse and took him out for the greater good. That scene wasn't just for shock value, it was foreshadowing. It showed us the stakes. Our Doctor Strange has now walked the exact same path. He used the Darkhold. He dreamwalked. And now Clea has confirmed the consequence. He caused an incursion. He has become the very thing the Illuminati feared most. This completely changes Doctor Strange's story. He's no longer just an arrogant surgeon who learned to be a hero. He's a man carrying an almost unimaginable guilt. There are even rumors floating around that Strange's actions are largely responsible for whatever chaos leads to secret wars. This fight is personal for him. He's not trying to save the world from some bad guy. He's trying to save all of reality from his own mistake. So where has Doctor Strange been all this time? He hasn't been relaxing at the Sanctum. The only logical answer is that he's been fighting a secret war across the multiverse. For months, maybe even years, he and Clea have been on a desperate, quiet mission, jumping between dying realities, trying to stop the chain reaction he started. This is the real story happening off-screen, a lonely struggle against a disaster he unleashed. Avengers. Doomsday is about that secret war finally failing. about the problem getting so big it can't be hidden anymore, spilling over into our world and forcing all our heroes to deal with the consequences of what Strange did. The MCU, for all its changes, has always used the comics for its biggest stories. And the blueprint for this exact scenario, a multiversal crisis caused by incursions that the heroes secretly try to stop, has already been written. It's called Time Runs Out. Time Runs Out, written by Jonathan Hickman, was the massive story leading into his 2015 Secret Wars event. The premise is simple and horrifying. The Illuminati, including Doctor Strange, discover the multiverse is dying. Universes are crashing into each other, and each crash destroys at least one of them. Everything dies becomes their mantra. Facing this impossible choice, the Illuminati start making terrible moral compromises. They hide the truth from everyone, believing no one else could handle it. They build weapons that can destroy other worlds, telling themselves it's the only way to save their own. The parallels to the MCU are impossible to miss. We've already been introduced to incursions. We've already seen an Illuminati judge and execute a Doctor Strange for causing one. Our Doctor Strange is now on a secret mission with Clea, a character who, in the comics, is part of a group that deals with incursions by destroying broken universes. The MCU has been laying the groundwork for Time Runs Out for years. It's not a question of if they'll adapt it, but how. And all signs point to Avengers Doomsday being that adaptation. This is where Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom's stories get tangled together in the comics. While the Illuminati are failing and falling apart, another great mind is also looking into the incursions, Victor Von Doom. While the heroes wrestle with their morals, Doom is driven only by his intellect and his will. He also understands the threat, but he isn't held back by a hero's code. In the comics, the final cause of the collapse is a race of godlike beings called the Beyonders. It's Doctor Strange who confronts them first. He gathers an insane amount of power and faces them, knowing he'll probably lose, but fighting anyway to buy a little more time. He fails, but it's a heroic failure. And who's there to pick up the pieces? Doctor Doom. Having watched Strange, Doom succeeds where he failed. He outsmarts the Beyonders, steals their power for himself, and uses it to stop total destruction. But his solution is horrifying. With the last remnants of dying realities, he smashes them together to forge a single patchwork planet, Battleworld. And he rules this new world as its God Emperor. That is the real Doomsday. It's not just one battle, it's the death of the multiverse as we know it, and the birth of a new reality ruled by a tyrant. This storyline perfectly connects the two upcoming Avengers films. Avengers. Doomsday looks like it will be the MCU's version of Time Runs Out. It's the story of the losing battle against the incursions, of Strange's secret mission, and of the heroes slowly realizing they are in over their heads. And Avengers Secret Wars will be what comes next. Life on Battleworld, under the thumb of God Emperor Doom. This is where it all comes together. The arrival of Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom isn't the event that kicks off the movie. His arrival is the climax of the secret war Doctor Strange has already lost. Think about it from Victor Von Doom's perspective. He is the smartest man in his universe, and he watches as his reality starts to fall apart. He investigates, and unlike our heroes, he figures out the real problem, incursions. He might even trace the plague back to its source, Earth 616, and the actions of its Sorcerer Supreme. From where he's standing, the heroes are a cosmic menace, playing with fire and breaking reality itself. They failed. And in their failure, Doom sees his opportunity, his responsibility to impose order. His motive is no longer just conquest. It's salvation through dictatorship. He doesn't want to rule the world. He wants to save reality from the people actively breaking it. This makes him a much more compelling villain. He's not a guy who thinks he's evil. He's a guy who believes he's the only one left with the strength to do what's necessary. He's the ultimate anti-hero, showing up to clean up the Avengers' mess. This could set the stage for one of the most fascinating team-ups in MCU history, a reluctant, desperate alliance between Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. The comics set a precedent for this. Faced with a threat bigger than both of them, Strange and Doom are forced to work together. They are the only two minds on the planet who truly get how bad things are. We could see this in Doomsday. Imagine a broken Stephen Strange, exhausted from his secret war, realizing he can't stop the end alone. He's forced to turn to the one man he knows is his equal and the one man he knows he can never trust, Victor Von Doom. The tension of that pairing would be incredible. It's a clash of ideologies. Strange, who has learned about sacrifice and teamwork, versus Doom, who believes only in his own absolute control. Putting Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr. in a room to debate the fate of all existence would be one of the most powerful scenes Marvel has ever done. But this alliance would, of course, be temporary. This is where the true plot twist of the film could happen. At the climax of Avengers Doomsday, as Strange, Doom, and the heroes fight to stop the final incursion, they might be on the edge of victory, and in that moment, Doom will make his move. He won't just help them stop the collapse. He'll seize the very power that's causing it. Just like in the comics, he'll find a way to harness the energy of the dying multiverse, steal that godlike power for himself, and betray everyone. His goal was never to save our reality. It was to let it die so he could use the scraps to build his own. This is the Doomsday of the title. The heroes lose. The multiverse ends. And Doctor Doom wins, creating Battleworld and setting the stage for Avengers' Secret Wars. So, while everyone is rightfully hyped about seeing Robert Downey Jr.'s face on a new villain, the fate of the multiverse is actually hanging on a secret war that Doctor Strange has been fighting all along. Doctor Doom's arrival isn't the start of the story. It's the apocalyptic end of a crisis that began the second Strange opened the Darkhold. The RDJ casting isn't just a cool idea, it's the perfect narrative camouflage, hiding the real, devastating story that's been in plain sight for years. The ultimate twist of Avengers Doomsday isn't that a hero becomes a villain. It's that a hero's mistake creates a power vacuum that only a villain is ruthless enough to fill. The twist is that to have any chance of surviving, our heroes might have to team up with that very villain, knowing he'll demand an unimaginable price. The question isn't whether Doctor Doom will bring about Doomsday. The question is whether he will be the only one left standing when the dust settles. But that's just my theory. I want to know what you think. Is Doctor Doom the main event, or is he just a symptom of a bigger problem? Will Strange and Doom actually be forced to team up? And who do you think would betray who first? Let me know all of your theories down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching.